COVID is everywhere. This has been one of the most popular topics throughout all forms of media. Many different ideas have been put out there about how COVID is spread and how it is prevented. Some are more credible than others.
The key part about COVID is it needs to attach to the back of your throat, especially Omicron. Alpha and Delta are a bit different, but Omicron has to attach to the back of your throat. In theory, it can come in through your nose inhaled, but it generally doesn't bind properly to the back of your throat. Your body has a lot of protections of getting infected through inhalation. The main method of contraction of Omicron is through moving or actually bringing food or your fingers to your mouth, and as it touches and rubs against the back of your throat as you ingest.
Many different methods of COVID prevention have been suggested, yet cases continue to rise. This leaves many people searching for answers on how to prevent themselves from being infected.
One is COVID reaches a surface. Once it's on a surface, somebody applies a biocide like ethanol or bleach or CPC or vinegar or one of the many different biocides that kills COVID. The other way it's killed is through desiccation, drying out. So when it's airborne, it dries out very quickly. And the smaller the particle, the more it travels, the more vulnerable is the desiccation. And if the little bit of droplet in the air descends or decreases by about half its size, the carbonate in your saliva actually changes the pH and it dies. COVID is just a big fat bubble surrounding a protein. All you need is something that kills the fat bubble.
Avoiding eating or drinking around people in tight enclosed areas will help avoid placing yourself in primary infection areas. Sanitizing your hands and being out in the sun are also great ways to keep yourself from being infected. Once COVID has entered your system, there are still ways to kill it. Zinc lozenges and cetylpridinium chloride, or CPC mouthwash, are products that will work in the user's throat. ZN2+, the element in zinc lozenges, is mortal to COVID as it opens up the fat bubble surrounding it, causing it to be killed. CPC also does the same thing. Every day, more information on COVID prevention, spreading, and mutation of the virus is shown in the media. With so many different sources throughout all media, how do we know what is accurate?
So what you really need to do, if you can, is actually look at the science paper and understand them. Even the headlines or the summaries of the science papers are only so much information. Really what's in it is the data and the graphs and the information. Often they provide information they never really expected to provide. There's other details in there. This makes it very difficult. Most people can't read the science papers or don't even know where they are. And they rely on a journalist's interpretation of the scientist's interpretation of their results. And the journalist didn't go to school for this. They generally find the person with the most credentials and publish that they said it. This way, if they say, hey, that person said it, they're not liable for any errors. So it is extremely difficult. So I'm a big fan, instead of believing, understanding. If you're gonna believe me today, you might believe the next person comes along. I'm a huge fan of understanding.
As the pandemic continues to fade into the background for most people's lives, and everyday life returns to somewhat normal, many people leave the pandemic with a strong will to not get sick. Hand sanitation, lozenges, and other methods mentioned above will all help in keeping people unaffected.